There's a Russian language newspaper in Ukraine.
Okay.
The Russian language newspaper in Ukraine is free. In Russia, people do not have free speech.
Scott,
Putin shuts
I'll go
down
back to you in a
RNA
minute, Mark.
Putin
You
shuts
just
down
want to put on
alternative
this
voices,
show.
just as you're trying to shut
Really
me down
shameful
right now.
what you're doing. Very shameful. Go ahead, Scott. Let's have some intelligent talk.
It's shameful that you won't allow me to give me 60 seconds.
You'll
to
have
say
your
the
next
truth,
60
and then
seconds.
You can say whatever you
Scott,
want.
go ahead. You'll have the next 60 seconds. Go ahead, Scott.
This is Crosstalk, not Cross Yell. So what I'd like to say next is you have individuals who are fighting in the. You have individuals who are in the Ukraine who are actually former military, who are actually helping out as maybe mercenaries or voluntarily, because they see the same kinds of things that other people see, like say at Bundy Ranch, where there is overreach of people that are basically operating in a federal environment, and there's former military, former oath keepers, and then let's take a look at how the Americans have used mercenaries and all of the military environment where former military is being used across the planet in a mercenary state. And we're talking about maybe dozens of these former military guys across a country of 50 million people who have been brought in, who have come in voluntarily and said, look, we're willing to help these people out because we think what's happening in Ukraine is wrong too. This is not a Russian push into Ukraine with many mercenaries. These are a very small amount of people who have decided that they're going to go help out the Russian people, and they're going to help out these people that might be getting the shaft from an organization like the OSCE. Tell me what you know about the OSCE and what they've been doing there for the past 15, 20 years, because that's really what we're talking about, is that we have violated the Constitution. And I will tell you, I know all about the Constitution. I have the Constitution right here. And the Constitution says we are violating Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. And I have two great presidents in this country who have said very clearly, these two great presidents have said that we should not get entangled in the environment of other nations. Even our NATO alliance violates the Constitution. You had President Washington, and you also had President Jefferson, two of the most premier presidents in this country, who have said clearly, under the Constitution, what we are doing.
Let's talk about sovereignty here. It's the United States that grossly violated the sovereignty of Kiev with this coup and backing fascist forces in Ukraine.
When Russia promised in 1994, they would respect the integrity and independent sovereignty of Ukraine, including Crimea. And then when just last week they promised in Geneva they would disarm their military, which their special forces,
what about the militias in the West?
Russian automatic weapons.
What about the militias in the West?
There is no military in Ukraine.
Now,
Ukraine Parliament voted 328 to 0.
It's an illegal parliament.
It's an illegal
parliament after an illegal coup.
The parliament was elected by the Ukrainian people.
There were not enough votes to
There wasn't a
There
quorum.
are free and fair elections. And my question for you two is will you think that Putin will allow Ukraine to have free elections on May 25th? Why is Putin so scared of free elections in Ukraine? The answer is
he's not afraid of it.
He's not afraid. That's exactly what should happen now. We should prove, let the Ukrainian people speak instead of backing Nuland's people. She put them in power, not the Ukrainian people. She decided that. Why did she do that? Mark, why did she do that?
Free election on May 25th.
Why did she do that, Mark?
I want to know if you agree that the Ukrainian people have a right to have a free election on May 25th.
That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. However, if there are right-wing militias, intimidating people, how can you have a free election? How can you have a free election when the government in Kiev is attacking and killing its own people? It is
Russia that is holding an American journalist in jail, Sama Trotsky. That's not Ukraine. It is Russia that is violating the human rights of journalists, even in Russia. It is Putin that is shutting down RIA Novosti and making sure that the Russian media has to conform to his crazy belief, which I don't think even Putin
live in the echo chamber, Mark. You just live in the
August
echo
31st,
chamber.
1939, the Germans had the dressed up as Poles and pretended to attack a German radio station. And that was the excuse for the Nazis to invade September 1st, 1939.
Russia wants the Third World War. You're delusional, Mark. You're delusional. You're delusional. Go ahead, Scott, before we go to the break.
Why is Putin invading Ukraine?
I'd like to say something, Mark.
You had your chance, Mark. Let's go to Scott.
So if you look at this, I mean, Mark Levine is very much like a mouthpiece for the guys at CNN. He's kind of like Jeffrey Tobin or
I'm a mouthpiece for 100 countries all around the world,
or even Barbara Starr in drag. I mean, you're looking at perhaps he's Barbara Starr in drag, and come to think of it, I haven't seen Mark Levine and Barbara Starr in the same place at any time. So it's a good possibility it could be the same person.
No one in the world believes this.
This guy has.
Go ahead, Scott. Finish
the nonsense is coming from you, Mark.
Tell me why. There's a United Nations vote, and the only people who stand up for Russia are the dictators of Sudan and North Korea.
Well, how about standing up to Israel, Mark? How about standing up to Israel every single year when it's the United States and Israel and a few Pacific Islands? Eat that, okay? Take that on board.
The reason you're changing the topic is why can't you
it's the same
accept that
thing.
Ukraine is a sovereign, independent nation, and that people have a right to live in freedom, and just like the Russian people should have a right to have independent journalism, and they don't anymore.
And they do. And we're going to go to a short break, guys. And after that short break, we'll continue our discussion on Ukraine.